Sunday Sana worden. Sunday Sana means thank you, Sukili. The other word I'd say here on the reserve is Twende. Twende means let's go. Job everybody, my name is Peyton. I'm your reserve guide for today. Just a couple of reminders. Please remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times. That includes any little ones you have seated next to you or on your lap. Just ensure everyone is fully seated. It is for your safety, my safety, and the safety of the animals we have out here on reserve. If you look above your head, that's an animal spotting guide. It's going to show you some of the animals that we might see today. I can't guarantee we'll see all of them, but we're going to do our best to see as many of them as we can. If you are trying to take a photo of any of the animals that we might see today, I recommend putting your phone or camera in live action or sports mode. It's going to help you get some pretty great photos since there's quite a few animals out there. Unfortunately, I can't stop for each and every one of them, and they definitely don't stop for us. We are just waiting for the warden to give us the all clear to head into the reserve. Our first stop is going to be the Little Aturi Forest. So when the forest animals use camouflage, they use their color and patterns to hide in the trees and the bushes. So that's where we're going to keep our eyes as we make our way around.
On les connaît là. C'est quoi? C'est quoi les Papa, ça c'est quoi?
C'est les
Les potas c'est
espèces de girafes.
derrière dans les arbres. Mais c'est plus dans la famille des girafes. Ah oui, ouais. Ils ont une longue langue. Il est temps de se réveiller. Là, nous, on est réveillés depuis 5 heures.
There's going to be a bird up on the hill over to our right-hand side here in just a second. It's going to be a saddle-bill stork, so they're going to be the white and black birds that you see with the yellow satellite kind of patch on their beaks. That one is going to be over to our right-hand side, very top of the hill. There's also a rhino over to our left-hand side, behind that little half wall, more to the right.
Wow.
Black rhinos are the smaller of the two species of rhino we have here in our reserve. They'll weigh about 3,000 pounds. They can gallop like a horse. All four of their feet come off the ground at one time. And again, those are saddle-bill storks over to our right-hand side. Their waist is about 9 feet wide. They stand about 5 feet tall. Now you can tell the males from the females by the color of their eyes. Females will have a golden eye, while males will have a black or brown eye. They do not have any vocal cords, which means that they are going to chatter to communicate with one another. They tap their bills together pretty quickly, and that's how they produce sound. And some bongos over to our left-hand side. The bongos are between the trees, orange animals with the horns. Both males and females will have horns, unlike the greater kudu where only the males will have horns. That means that those greater kudu are females against the Tankler antelope. They are one of the tallest of the forest antelope, while bongos are one of the shortest. Bongos have to walk their horns across their backs, and their chin tilted up towards the sky, stuck caught in all the foliage that hangs down. Hello, our friends of the forest who are using their camouflage skills pretty well. So they keep on going. They've just entered the Soft River. So the Soft River is home to the more aquatic animals. They spend most of their time down underneath the water, but sometimes they do come out on the shore. Over to our right-hand side, there's a couple of pink-backed pelicans on the island. And you can't see those ones, there's a few more coming up. Now, pink-backed pelicans, they get their name because their backs turn a bright shade of pink during mating season. It goes all the way up their cheeks, makes it look like they are blushing. They're a colonial nester, means that they'll nest in groups of about 500. They're one of the only pelicans to nest in trees. Now, there are a couple now hippopotamus also over to our right-hand side. They're the ones under the water, but there's some more over to our left. Now, hippopotamus, it means river horse in Latin. That's because they don't like swimming. Instead, they're going to walk, run, or bounce on the bottom of the river. They'll push themselves up whenever they need some air. Now, they can't hold their breath for a pretty long time. They close their ears and their nostrils to help them stay under. When they are under the water, they most likely will fall asleep. They do not need to wake up to come for air. They have a special reflex. They'll push themselves up, they'll take a breath, and sink all the way down to the very bottom while they are still sleeping.
Il y a des grosses roches dans l'eau.
They are a pretty big animal, about 11 to 15 feet in length. They'll weigh about 2,500 to 5,000 pounds. Now, they spend most of their time in the water. They are considered a land animal. When they are on the land, it's because they're looking for their food. So they'll travel over 6 miles every single day to find it. Now, they will eat the grasses and the hays that grow next to the rivers. They're also going to secrete a red oil called blood sweat. So blood sweat is more like sunscreen. It's just a red oil. And it gives them a little pink tint. So if you ever see a hippo that looks like it's pink, that's what blood sweat is. Now, we're not to mention that there were some Nile crocodiles seen in this area, so we're also going to keep our eyes open for them. Nile crocodile, they'll grow to be about 16 feet long. Females are pretty great moms. They'll take their eggs inside their mouths, roll them around a little bit, and crack them on the inside of their teeth. That's going to help all their eggs hatch. Once their eggs hatch, you get their babies inside of their mouths, helps protect them from any predators, as well as other crocodiles. Now, we do say the crocodiles because they're an opportunistic hunter, so they're going to sit very quietly underneath the water with their mouths open super wide and waiting for their prey to come to them. To help them do that, they have receptors on their entire bodies, so they can feel the vibrations of the water. They can feel their prey walking, swimming, or running towards them. We have just left the river over to our right-hand side. This is a baobab tree. Yeah, they're a pretty important tree to the savanna ecosystem because they store a ton of water inside of their trunks. Animals like elephants and animals with horns still use those trees, piercing inside of them, get some of their own personal watering holes. During that dry season, watering holes, they're hard to find. That's why these trees are called the tree of life. Now, they're also called the upside down tree. They look like they're planted upside down. They'll be leafless for about 9 months of the year. They only have leaves during the rainy season. Now, we are slowly going to make our way down onto the savanna. As we head down, you'll notice it's a more wide open space than the little Aturi forest was. Out here, animals rely on speed rather than camouflage, but there's also migratory animals. So that means that these animals, they would start the day on one side of the savanna. Due to the food and water availability, they'll travel thousands of miles across the other side to find whatever it is they're looking for. If you see any animals on the other side of the savanna, we'll get over there in just a minute. Hope we get a little bit closer to them. Now, there are a couple of occupied dogs over to our left-hand side. They're pretty hard to see if you look towards the right of the den. You'll be able to see them. Now, African painted dogs are the most successful hunters in all of the savanna. That's because they hunt in a pack and in a relay fashion. So one dog is going to take lead. When that first dog gets tired, they'll fall to the back of the pack. A new dog takes over. They'll continue to switch whoever leads that hunt until their prey gives up exhaustion. Now, they are part of the canid family. That's the same family that our dogs are from. But they're only going to have 4 toes on each foot. They could not be domesticated. The zebras over to our right-hand side, those are Hartson mountain zebras. We're also going to have a couple of antelope over to our left. We have some sables at the very top of the hill, and a couple of elands. Now, the eland drinking his water right here. This one is the male. We can tell he's a male because he stands about 6 feet tall, just at his shoulders. He's also going to weigh about 2,200 pounds. Another way we can tell is because of his horns. So his horns are shorter and thicker than the female. She'll have a longer and thinner horn. Those sables in the very back, they're pretty territorial for an antelope species. In a fight or flight response, they will always choose to fight. Now when they fight each other, they're going to kneel down and bash their heads together. Because of the way their horns face, they will rarely injure each other. Again, these are Hart's Mountain zebras. They're pretty unique. They're the only zebra species to have a dewlap. So a dewlap is a little piece of skin hanging down from their neck, causing to regulate their body temperature. They send blood through it, the wind cools it, they circulate it through their bodies. Now a group of them is called a dazzle. That's because they motion dazzle. So when a predator is nearby, they're going to run in a really fast, really tight knit circle. That circle will confuse the predator. They're not going to know where one zebra starts and another one ends. Over to our right hand side, you might be able to see a couple of Ankole cattle all the way hiding behind those trees. Now Ankole cattle, they have pretty big horns. Their horns are about 6 feet long. They have a honeycomb-like structure on the inside of them, which helps them to cool down. So they send blood through those horns, the wind cools it, they circulate it through their bodies. They're not a meat or dairy cattle, instead they're a symbol of wealth. So the more that you have, the richer you are. You're going to have a side drop over to our left-hand side. Now we can tell it's a Messiah because of its spot pattern. So its spots are more circular and jagged than articulated, have a more square shape and uniform pattern. So they're about 18 to 20 feet tall. They have the highest blood pressure out of any animal on the savanna. And because their blood pressure is so high, they have a heart that's about 2 feet in length, weighs about 25 pounds. It's going to help them pump the blood to the very top of their head. Now, even though it looks like they have a lot of bones in their neck, they only have 7. That's the same amount of vertebrae that we have in ours. Over to our right hand side, you might be able to see a couple of springbok ones that are lying down, look like those little rocks. Now springbok, they only sit about 3 feet tall. They'll jump about 9 feet high from standing position and 13 feet across. They can jump up and through the truck. They really felt like it.
À gauche, regarde, sont toutes là, les girafes à côté de la face.
Ils veulent rentrer, ils sont gênés, peut-être trop froid.
Trees coming behind me. Now we are about to enter elephant country. As we make our way through, we only see one elephant. It means it is a male. More than one means that they are females. That's because females like to be in a family herd. Looks like we might have at least one over to our right. Now there's 2 over to our right hand side, again meaning that they are females. All weigh about 8,000 pounds, males will weigh about 13. Again, they will live in a family herd led by a matriarch. She's going to be the oldest and the wisest female elephant. She's going to remember every single watering hole that she has been to throughout her entire life. She'll take them to any watering holes again that she remembers. They need to cool down or get a drink. If not, they end up using baobab trees. That is also the matriarch's job to kick any of the males out of that herd as soon as they reach maturity. And males, they will be solitary animals, but sometimes they form a bachelor herd when they're still pretty young. Now they're not going to be unfriendly with each other, but that older male who takes them in, he's going to teach them everything they need to know through sparring. So sparring is like normal fighting, but they're not fighting to hurt each other. Instead, he's teaching them how to behave around other elephants, protect their territory, and start their own families. We're going to head to another watering hole where if we're lucky we'll find at least one more elephant. As we go over there, I do want to mention that elephants, they are endangered. So there's a lot of human and elephant conflicts happening on the savanna right now. One of those conflicts is called coltan mining. So coltan is a tiny piece of mineral. It's in everybody's electronics, right next to your battery, and all of your phones, computers, smartwatches, and tablets. It takes thousands of acres away from the elephants just to mine a little piece of that mineral, and why it's super important to recycle. It's going to put all that coltan back in the circulation back into our hands, and that is hopefully going to stop the mining that's hurting them. Now, we do say that because they're a keystone species, they are vital to their ecosystem, and they are the glue that holds it all together. Without them, we are going to lose the entire savanna and all the animals that depend on it. Now, it doesn't happen slowly, it's all going to happen at one time after the elephants are gone. They are pretty powerful animals. Inside of their ears, those wrinkles, those are blood vessels. Whenever they flap them, these are a little bit too hot. So they can cool themselves down several degrees just from a couple of flaps. Again, their trunks are also very powerful. They have over 150,000 muscles inside of them. Now, they are not going to use their trunks like a straw like a lot of people believe that they do. So they use it more like a water bottle. They'll bring up all the water they would like to drink. They'll bring it to the mouth. They will take a sip that way. Now we are going to head to the other side of the savanna. We're going to pass by some greater flamingo on our way over there. Now, greater flamingo, they're the lightest shade of pink out of any of the flamingo species. They're going to hatch gray. They turn pink about 1.5 to 2 years after they hatch. Now, the way they get that brine shrimp, they're going to stomp on the ground pretty quickly. Serves up all the food to the very top of the water. They take it into their beaks and turn their heads over. They have 2 holes at the very top of their beak. Release all the water out of them. And then flip their heads back over, right side up, continue to eat that way. You're going to have a couple of white rhinos over to our left-hand side. So white rhinos, pretty big, they're a little bigger than the black rhinos, about 5,000 pounds. The main difference between black rhinos and white rhinos is the shape of their jaw. They're the exact same color. And white rhinos actually got their name from a mistranslation of the word vite. Vite, it means wide, representing the shape of those jaws. We heard it, we thought it meant white, and that's how they got their name. Now you'll never find multiple black rhinos together, that's because they're pretty territorial. You'll always find at least 3 white rhinos. If you like to be in a group is called a crash. They can have anywhere from 10 to 15 rhinos per crash. Now that is a mud wallow that this one is walking around, mud wallows. They act as a swimming pool, so it helps them to cool down. You're also going to roll around in it and coast their skin. Works a lot like sunscreen and bug repellent. Couple of cheetah walking around over to our left-hand side. Now they will run about 60 miles an hour. They can reach that speed in just 3 seconds. They can't hold it for very long. They'll hold it for about the length of a football field before they drop down, eventually giving up on their hunt completely. Now they are not considered a big cat. That's because they cannot roar. Instead, they're going to chirp, purr, or meow, just like cats at home do, making them the largest feline. Because they are part of the panther family, they are able to roar. These are animals like lions and tigers. Called a copy. So copies, they are the homes to some lions. There's a lot of dens down inside them that offer shade from the savanna sun, as well as the same place for them to raise their cubs. Now they will live in a pride. There's going to be 1 male and 3 females and their cubs. The females do all the hunting for their pride, while the males will stay behind, protect the territory, and protect those cubs. Also have a couple of water buck over to our right hand side. So water buck have heart-shaped noses and round white circles on their rears. Those white circles are going to help them find each other through the foliage.
Ils ont vu quelque chose, c'est ça qu'ils veulent manger.
Ouais. Il les watch, hein?
Pourquoi il y a
bonhommes tout le temps, la propriétaire.
Pas ici. Pas sûr qu'ils peuvent les renvoyer dans la nature. Hi, Lydia. C'est la liane, la chasse,
Now then, ostrich over to our right-hand side. So this ostrich is going to be a female. We can tell she's female because she's gray. Females would be the black and white ones that all the cartoons say, and the girls. So it's about 9 feet tall, run about 43 miles an hour within just one stride, for about 10 to 16 feet. Now a lot of people say that ostrich will bury their heads in the sand. They do not. Their head and neck is the same color as sand, so they lay down. If a predator is coming near them, sit down. They look like a really big rock. Now it looks like her eggs are coming up. They're going to be over to our right-hand side, down in the grass. Now those eggs, they will weigh about 3 pounds each. That's about the weight of 2 dozen chicken eggs. They're going to lay their eggs in a pretty particular pattern. So the dominant female, she'll lay her egg first. The other ostrich will surround her egg with theirs. That's going to...
Probablement des bébés, on peut pas manger.
Now we are heading over into Pagani Glen. Pagani Glen is the home of our morning. Just go with Nigerian sunfirst and Haverna yarn. Hopefully we'll see them as they wait for us back to the village. The Nigerian Dorcos, they are one of these smaller species of goat, only sit about 2.5 feet tall, and they do provide milk. Now the milk can be used to make dairy items as well as soap and lotion, which villagers use to sell in the marketplace. So you can't go and meet some Nigerian Dorcos, they're over at Rafiki's Plan to Watch. The Wildlife Express will take you there. It's about a 5-minute train right out. Now it does open at 9:30, and I recommend going at that time. You might get pretty lucky and see some procedures being performed by some of our veterinary staff. There's a window you can watch through. You can also ask them some questions after they're done. And again, you'll find some Nigerian dwarf goats over in the affection section with a couple of sheep. There's some donkeys, cows, as well as gold pigs in there. Since we are leaving Pagani Glen, that does unfortunately mean we are heading back to the village at the end of our safari. We saw some pretty cool animals out there today. Hopefully you learned a couple of facts about them that you didn't know before. Now many of them, they are at risk of losing their homes. It is up to us to protect them and their environment. One of the ways that we can do that is by reduce, reuse, and recycling. I know we hear it all the time. We're kind of sick of it, but it really does help. So that can be anything from turning off the water when you brush your teeth, having a reusable water bottle instead of a non-reusable one, and recycling your non-reusable water bottles. Those would be just a couple of ways that we can help all these animals out. Now if you have any wilderness explorers on board, you are on board SIMBA 1, that is SIMBA, and another one. It's on page 14 of your wilderness guide. Now if you're not a wilderness explorer, I recommend becoming one. See any of my friends with the orange satchels, and they will help you get started. Now that is a free little park that anyone can do. You basically go around the park collecting badges by learning about animals and ways you help them through conservation. If you are heading over to Rafiki's Plan to Watch, there are 5 badges to earn over there, and 3 on each of the trails. So we have 2 trails here at Animal Kingdom where you can see more animals. One of them is next door. It's called the Gorilla Falls Trail. Now on that trail you'll find 2 groups of gorillas. There's some meerkats, zebras, as well as an underwater viewing section for hippos. The other trail is over in Asia. It's called the Monkrose Jungle Trek. On that trek you'll find the tigers, there's Komodo dragons, some pretty big bats called flying foxes, as well as a bird aviary. So here in Harambe, we don't like saying goodbye. It is far too sad and far too final, so instead we're going to say Kwaherini. Kwaherini means to go well, so hope you guys go well, and have a great rest of your day here at Animal Kingdom, or wherever else your journey will take you. Look around, make sure all your belongings. It is a long way back to Africa. If you do happen to forget something,